There, and welcome to another exciting edition of KDG Company proudly presents Movie Talk Challenge. That's right, it's going down once again, and we got a great show for you today. Check it out. Bam! Wonder Woman versus Thor. Now, it seems that I didn't purchase Thor. I don't really care for the Thor franchise like that, you know what I'm saying? I hate to be biased, but yeah, he's not really my cup of tea. But Wonder Woman, bam, this is all that. You need this in your film library like ASAP, all right? Go ahead and cop this. Wonder Woman, badass. All right, now, it's your man, your boy, your ace, Andre Shane, better known as Mr. Shoes. Alrighty then, right here, episode 3, Wonder Woman versus Thor. Let's get into it. We're gonna go ahead and start things off with Thor. Now, the origin story of Thor basically goes like this. You see, on the coronation of Odin being decrowned, because he's, stepping down as king of Asgard, and he's passing it down to his first son, Thor, as king. However, as he's, doing the customs and, passing down the crown, all of a sudden, here comes the Frost Giants. They invade Asgard and they go after the ancient casket of winter, which is the source of the Frost Giants, the Jotunheim's powers. That's the source of the Jotunheim's power, is the ancient winter casket. So they invade Asgard and they're going after this ancient casket. However, they're quickly dispatched by one of Odin's sentinels. One of his guards take him out with no problem. However, he's unable to announce his successor as king of Asgard. So Thor, he's pissed off. He's like, yo, I'm about to be king, but however, these Frost Giants come up in here and they wreck up the whole coronation. I'm supposed to be king by now. And Odin's telling him, hey man, it's all good. Don't worry about it. I got rid of the guys. My guard got rid of them. They're dead. They paid with their lives. Everything's all good. Thor's like, no, we should go over there to Jotunheim's planet, the Frost Giants, and destroy them. Let them know that, hey, Asgard is not to be messed with. But, Odin's like, hey, man, just let it go. It's all good. You don't want to do this. Of course, Thor, being hot-headed, he goes to Jotunheim's planet and he starts destroying Frost Giants, rages this war. Odin saves him, brings him back to Asgard, and ensues these debate between him and Thor. And things go way beyond words. Odin, being pissed off, strips Thor of his power and casts him out of Asgard. So he's without hammer, he's without powers. He had basically a footprint on his ass from Odin. Alright? Straight booted out of Asgard. So when he winds up on Earth, he runs into Jane Foster and her friends, and basically they're searching, they're into astrology and science, and they bump into Thor, and Thor basically just drops out of the sky one night, and they find him, and they just kind of pick his brain, ask where he's from, what's going on. But through this journey with Jane Foster and her friends, Thor basically becomes the ass kicker of Asgard as we know. This is where his origin story starts off, as being bigger than just a god of Asgard. He becomes a protector of all planets. So this is Thor's origin story. Pretty good. Now we go into Wonder Woman's origin story. Wonder Woman's origin story basically takes place when Diana, which is Wonder Woman's real name, rescues a captain by the name of, air pilot by the name of Captain Steve Trevor. She rescues him when his plane crashes off the coast of the Themyscira coast, and she brings him, onto the mainland. Now, the Germans that were pursuing him also come into the coastline of the Themyscira and start wreaking havoc. So you have the Amazons coming out fighting the Germans, and you got, so much melee and so much bloodshed. They kill the Germans, however, it comes at the expense of the Amazonians. Many of them die at the hands of the Germans, as well as them killing the Germans. So they take Steve Trevor and they wrap the golden lasso around him, and they get all the information they can from him, and he tells them, spills his guts about the whole Germans using this mustard gas that can kill millions of people. Diana, she's like, yo, this is probably Ares' work. He's using these humans to push out his agenda. You know, he's going to start a war, which a war has already been started. This is going into World War One. The Amazons are not trying to hear that. They're like, yo, that sounds like their own personal problem. We got our own stuff here. Let them handle that. Diana's like, hell no, I'm going to go with Steve. We're going to handle this. So she leaves the Themyscira with Steve, Trevor, and they go into London. Now, that's her origin story because because she leaves the Themyscira and goes on to a world she's not, have no idea what she's about to head into, a world that she doesn't quite understand, but she does it for the great of good, because she believes Ares is going to be there. So, if I got to say which one of these origin stories is better, I have to go with Diana, because hers is more heroic because she had a choice to stay or to leave. Even though they wanted her to go. They did not want her to go. They wanted her to stay. She chose to go with Steve Trevor to stop Ares. So, to me, that's more heroic versus with, you know, Thor, who just got booted out, just straight assed out. So I'm going to have to go with Diana for that one. 1 point, Wonder Woman. All right, now the story. We're going to have to start with Thor. The story of Thor is basically him realizing that there's a difference between just being a king and a warrior. And he has to know when those two to use. To be a king, to use diplomacy as a king, and to use his head, versus being a warrior to fight. So he goes on this journey, like I said, with Jane Foster and her friends, and he realizes this is bigger than me. You know, I have people to protect if I'm going to be king, and I have to use my head. I just can't go into war, because I go into war, that costs lives. And I'm not going to go into war unnecessarily. So he starts thinking. He becomes forever changed due to his interaction with Jane Foster and her friends. So this is when Thor becomes Thor. That's his origin story. Now, Diane, on the other hand, her origin story, her story is basically, the deal is with her. She goes into London, and then she goes into the whole war that breaks out in World War One, and she's under the mindset of that humans are being corrupted by Ares. But then when she finds out, it's not exactly as simple as she thinks it is. Like Ares is poisoning these people's thoughts, the mankind's thoughts, is not that, you know, and she realizes this. But it's not until she comes into contact with Steve Trevor when she really sees humanity at its best. And then she's forever changed. So those two stories, I have to go with, of course, Diana, because it's really great how they show this depiction of this God, you know, that truly is Diane, because she has so much power, but yet she has so much compassion and understanding. And she's been taught that man is evil and no good, but she finds this one good man named Steve Trevor that changes her outlook on humanity. But also, due to that, it keeps her away from participating in the crimes and the injustices throughout the world because of what happens later on in the film, but we're going to get into that later. Whereas Thor, on the other hand, he never had that compassion or understanding. He had to be taught that. Wonder Woman already had it. She just had to understand the how mankind thinks. So I'm going to have to give it to Diane. This was really good. A very great story. Now, villain. The villain of this, if you go into Thor, is Loki. Now, here's the thing. Loki, to me, I never cared for Loki. And, oh yeah, to back it up, Wonder Woman won the story portion. So that's 2 points for Wonder Woman, 0 for Thor. Now, the villain, Loki, he's a spoiled brat. You know what I'm saying? He's a spoiled brat mainly because of the simple fact he was adopted at an early age by Odin, but however, Odin always treated him as an equal. He called him son just like he calls Thor son. Showed him as much love and affection as Thor. But yet, for some reason, he feels like he was only used as a peace treaty with the Guggenheim. And that's not what it is. Now, true Loki is a Guggenheim. He is a frost giant. However, he was never treated that way. He was never mistreated. He was never treated like a redhead stepchild. And he has this mischief ways for no reason. He has a chip on his shoulder for no reason. So for me, he's not a great villain, but he is a villain, but he's not a great villain. Ares is because his origin story is similar to Lucifer in the fact that he has a bone to pick with Zeus because Zeus has favored man over him, and he has turned his back on Ares. So Ares has made it his mission to poison the hearts of man, to have them wage war against each other. So he can take over the world and get rid of humanity as it is, get rid of humanity. So I agree with Ares. I think he has a reason to have a chip on his shoulder. I'll give him the win. So the best villain will go to Ares. Wonder Woman gets that 3rd point. So we come down to the star rating. Thor receives, I believe, 3.5, where Wonder Woman receives full 4 stars. So Wonder Woman kills it, 4 stars. She is the winner of today's show. So once again, I hope you enjoyed it and get ready for another episode. But for my bachelors out there, once again, always remember, keep your shoes on.